Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to China. New world order is all set to be formed. Remember, after 7 years, PM Modi visited China, where we held a bilateral meeting with China. President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi held those talks. This meeting comes, remember, also amid the tariffs imposed by the US and China's own unstable ties with America. PM Modi and President Jinping held this talk on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. This meeting went on for around an hour, during which National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri were also present from the Indian side. Meanwhile, the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi took part in this meeting. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Rishabh, who's joining us, as well as introduce my guest. Ambassador Ashok Sajjanhar joins us this morning. Mr. Kayong Hong Kim, head of India and South Asia team at the Korea Institute for International Economic Policy, joins us. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, senior fellow IPCS, joins us as well as Ambassador Phunchok Stobdan, joining us on the broadcast. Good morning and namaskar to all of you. Before I, come to all of you, let me quickly get in a word from my colleague Rishabh, who's joining us. Rishabh, we heard the Prime Minister speak a short while back. His opening remarks talked about border. He talked about how India and China need to be together in the kind of geopolitical challenges that the two countries are facing. As far as the Prime Minister's message is concerned, it's been loud and clear to the US and the rest of the world.
Well, Shreya, first of all, a very interesting panel that you're sitting with in office. But if we talk about India and China, the opening remarks clearly say that both India and China have moved ahead of Galwan. The Galwan crisis and the standoff that succeeded it has now put on a back burner, and India and China both wants to move forward. Prime Minister talked about two things. 2.8 billion people's future is based on India and China and their mutual relationship. Also speaking about the direct flights, also speaking about Mansarovar Yatra and all the positive things. And we also need to understand on the backdrop of this meeting. Yesterday, Nepal Prime Minister Oli met Xi Jinping. Nepal, in its readout, talked about Lipu Lake trade agreement between India and China. China, in its readout, did not say a word on that, which means that China is also ready to talk about the territorial integrity of India. That is a very, very positive sign. So from here on, how India and China move forward would be very interesting. And given the geopolitics that we are looking at, weaponization of tariff, India, China, Russia coming together to counter that tariff weaponization is something that will make news headlines for months to come from.
All right, so we'll have to wait and watch how the RIC alliance moves forward and whether, it gets the kind of vitality that everyone's been talking about. Rishabh, thanks very much for joining us at the moment. Ambassador Sajjanhar, can I then understand from you, has there been, forward movement from Kazan? Because that is where perhaps India and China looked towards positive relationship, looked towards ironing out the border differences that we've had. Taking forward from there, we're not expecting anything huge to come out of this, but just the fact that the two leaders have met amid the kind of geopolitical challenges that both countries are facing assumes a lot of significance.
Thank you very much, Shreya. I think the visit is very important, as you have underlined yourself. It is important for the bilateral context, relations between India and China. Also important because of the backdrop, that is of the United States, the tariffs that it has imposed on the whole world, on China, on India, and the deteriorating relations between India and the United States. So in that context, I think whatever was discussed in Kazan, in between there have been visits, both sides. India's NSA has traveled to China, vice versa. Wang Yi has traveled to India. Dr. Jaishankar was also in China. So I think discussions have been held between all these senior ministers and officials. And I think that is what Prime Minister Modi also said, that, some of the agreements that have been reached in terms of resuming the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, number one. Number two, in terms of once again bringing into position the direct flights.
Yeah.
And also, as far as border management is concerned, I think the positive noises, Shreya, that were made by Wang Yi when he was in India recently. That having been said, the Prime Minister was very cautious, because we are not expecting a reset. We are not expecting a total transformation, a total makeover as far as the relationship is concerned. He said we would like the relations to develop on the basis of three mutuals: mutual trust, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interest. So these are the three issues, and we have been talking about peace and tranquility on the border. That is a sine qua non for our relationship to move forward.
Yeah, and I think that is also something that has been made clear from the government of India, that without those differences being weeded out, we will not move forward. But Ambassador Sobdan, can I then understand from you, just the fact that Donald Trump's tariffs take the center stage at the moment, will this kind of messaging be put across to the United States of America, reach and, have the kind of impact that it aims to have?
I think from the Chinese point of view, they were much louder on this. You remember the Chinese ambassador in New Delhi has comment that we stand up with India. I mean, it appeared that the United States was the only factor between India and China relationship. Minus the United States, Chinese seem to be saying that, look, I don't have any problem with you. But I think from our point of view, that's not the point. As Ambassador Ashok Sajanar said, Prime Minister has been very cautious today on the note, the initial note that he gave at the bilateral meeting. He's talking more about normalization issues of yatra, about the resumption of air services and many other things.
Yeah.
But the sticky point is the border and terrorism. How to balance that is the issue. Let's see how the declaration of the summit or the bilateral meeting will come out. We don't know as yet, because that's the most difficult part of the SCO meeting also.
Since you talked about a joint statement, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, the last time around we saw Defense Minister Rajnath Singh not sign that joint statement that came out of the SCO Defense Ministers meeting, saying that this does not clearly condemn the Pahalgam terror attack, and therefore it's going to be crucial to see whether that sort of statement comes out of the SCO Leaders Summit. Should we expect that at all, considering the fact that Pakistan is a member and, the China-Pakistan ties?
Not really. Look, this entire tamasha that's happening in Shanghai, it's just tactical posturing. The fact remains that China was, and will for the foreseeable future remain a hostile country. They continue to protect all the terror organizations in Pakistan, threaten to veto it at every forum at the UN, supply the Pakistanis to this day. Khushab 3 and 4, the nuclear reactors which supply Pakistan's nuclear weapons program, are built and supplied by the Chinese. They will continue to supply them with material. We all saw during Operation Sindoor how the Chinese were giving real-time satellite imagery and things like that to the Chinese. So, we just need to look at this as, think of it as a flare, a kind of a warning sent up, saying, whoa, you're heading in the wrong direction, calm down. It's posture at best. We shouldn't read too much into it. There is no way any reset or realignment of any kind happening out here.
Yeah.
It's just convenient. The Chinese use us when necessary, we use the Chinese when necessary.
Okay. All right. I have to slip into a short break. We will continue this conversation. Thank you very much right now for joining us. Slipping into a short break, viewers. After that, we continue our coverage of Prime Minister Modi's visit to China.